Good morning, gamers. Good evening, gamers. Good afternoon, gamers. It's an afternoon. Is this an afternoon? It must be an afternoon. An afternoon of sorts. Hey, what's up? Hey, guys. How are you doing right now? Okay? How are you doing, guys? My loves, how are we feeling? Welcome. We are currently... Silence me. I don't want to hear you. Me. How are you feeling, you guys? Hello? I will just keep on repeating it until my brain just comes up with something else to say. Anyway, hello. So today, we are going to be continuing our 3D modeling journey learning stuff. Mostly because, I think it's fun and I'm really enjoying it. I will probably get back to properly illustrating once I'm done with the donut, and maybe try to actually apply the 3D skills to, illustrating. We'll see how that works out. My neighbor is fucking hammering something, so if you hear that, that's what's happening. But yeah, no, today though we're gonna do, like a slightly more bite-sized version of a stream. Where's my glove? I don't feel like I'm doing work unless I have my little Illustrator glove on. Yeah, but today we're going to be doing more of a bite-sized stream, because I want to do some sketchbooking. And then post it for you guys. So, join that. But yeah, so we're gonna continue with the donut. See if that, maybe I'll master 3D rendering or whatever. Let's go to our silence, my good friends. We are back to our donut-based adventures. Okay. So, I think we're maybe gonna go through two parts of the tutorial, because we went through like a good 4, so maybe this time we're gonna go through just 2. Sorry, again, there's a fluff here. I went to a cat cafe, actually, recently, this past weekend. So cute, so adorable. The cats, I love cats. I love cats. They were so cute. A couple of them were mean. One of them was like called Big Oreo. He did not want to be pet. He was a big gentleman, but I would, I told him that I want to be friends with him. There's another one that was like this beautiful fluffy white cat. Looked like a wolf if a wolf was a cat. Oh. So many cute ones. A lot of them are rescues. It was adorable. Anyway. Oh, fuck right off, man. I got a goddamn advertisement. I hate advertisements. What the fuck is this? Diva. Okay, so we're gonna go back to our let me go show you guys my screen. What am I doing? I don't know what I'm doing. Boom. Oh wow, there's so many ways of transition scenes. I did not know that. We shall just do it, however. Okay. Transition. There we go. Boom. Here's my little screen. Hello. Say hello. Hello. Hello, hello, hello. Say hi, Donut. Hi, Donut. What's up, buddy? Yeah. Anyway. So we're going to continue our friend teaching us things. And we're going to see if we can learn it like cool guys, you know?
This is where we finished at the end of the last part,
Yes.
And we are ready for some
where we're
materials.
finished.
Before we continue, do a check over though, because I looked inside my donut. I saw this.
There's a subscribe button. Very funny.
You've only got your camera, your donut, your icing, and your... Make sure you don't have any hidden meshes that should definitely not be there. You've only got your camera, your donut, your icing, and your light, okay? Okay, so materials. Let's do some materials. If we jumped into our render mode, that little button that I showed you on the first part that takes you into render view mode, you can see we've got a lamp and it's lighting our donut in a very depressing cold gray. So let's give it a material down here, the little material tab, and then we're going to
I will say last time I did put little colors on it. So maybe I'm a little ahead of our friend here. So, you know.
So just like before, the one thing we're going to change is the color.
Yes.
Nice
okay. I was a little ahead. Look at me.
Good. The other value that you typically want to change for a lot of objects is the roughness value. So you can see the further I go all the way.
What? So I can make it more or less shiny. Are you kidding me? Wow. It's more like patent leather now. Yeah. Oh, that looks so much more delicious than last time. Hello, donut.
To the left-hand side, the more it becomes a mirror. So all the way at 0 is basically a mirror. And then all the way to the right is your most porous object, like a brick or something like that. Basically something that looks like it doesn't have reflection, although everything does. The roughness is just merely dissipating that reflection everywhere, so it appears as though it doesn't. But anyways, so we're going to go with like a 0.3, something like that. That's pretty good. And then for the base of our
0.3. I like when it's I mean, it's a little more gummy right now. 0.3. Boom.
donut, we're going to give it another material, and let's go with a nice orangey yellow, which we will change later on, so it won't matter anyway. But that's...
Yep. Can I make it more rough? Because donuts are a little more rough. Again, that's our donut.
Good, great, look at us. We've got a donut. By the way, we'll add some subsurface SSS later on to make this look a little bit more milky, but for now this is good. Now we want to put our donut onto a marble countertop. So first of all, we need that countertop as a separate object. So Shift A, and the one we're looking for is again under Mesh, and we're going to go with...
Okay, Jesus Christ. Shift A, Mesh, plane, I guess.
The plane. So a plane is just a square that's
so
literally
funny.
made
My
up
donut
of
is
4
like way
vertices.
big.
It's the simplest object, but the most...
It's so funny because my donut is like way bigger than his. I don't know why my donut is so huge compared to his. Oh god. Oh no, I just realized how big my donut is. Look at how huge my donut is. That's a big boy. That's a big boy donut.
Most versatile. They use it all over the place. I'm going to make this look a little bit bigger. So let's just scale that out with S and then click. Okay, so we want to make our donut rest onto the countertop. So if I selected my donut base and moved it up, well, there's a problem, right? We need to have both of these move together. So if you want to have one object basically attached to another object while still being its own separate object, you parent it. So the way we parent it...
What size did he chose?
That's literally made up of 4 vertices. It's the simplest object, but the most versatile. They use it all over the place. I'm going to make this look a little bit bigger. So let's just scale that out with S and then click.
Okay, click.
Okay, so we want to make our donut rest onto the countertop. So if I selected my donut base and moved it up, well, there's a problem, right? We need to have both of these move together. So if you want to have one object basically attached to another object while still being its own separate object, you parent it. So the way we parent it is, first of all, you select the object that you want to follow the other object, so the child, and then you select the parent. So holding down Shift, I'm going to now click on the donut base, and then to parent, it's Control P, okay? Or again, if at any time you don't know what it is, just hit F3 for search, and then we can just...
Let's Control E.
Type in parent. Now, by the way, with parent, you get a number of options here. The one you actually want is keep transform. If you just do
Is it Control E or Control P? Control P, guys. Shift Control P. Oh, what's up?
Okay. Or again, if at any time you don't know what it is, just hit F3 for search, and then we can just type in parent. Now, by the way, with parent, you get a number of options here. The one you actually want is keep transform. If you just do object, it means if you've ever moved the object, like off its base or whatever like that, it'll then like clear its position. So it's actually not the one you want most of the time. So it's keep transform. Now that I've done that, if you've
Keep transform.
done it in the correct order, you should be able to select the base and then move it, and the icing should go with it. If it doesn't, it means it's probably parented the other way. So again, make sure the object you want to follow, the other one, is selected first, and then the parent is selected last. Okay. So now I'm going to move that up along its z-axis, so G, and then just a middle tap and pull it up till it's resting on my counter. Haha, lovely. Now don't worry about this looking like cartoonishly bad in terms of realism. I'm going to show you a button later on, which is just going to make this look phenomenally realistic. That's going to be in some later parts. But for now, this is fine, just whilst we work and piece the scene together. So for our countertop here, we need to give it a new material. And then underneath the base color, you can select not just a color by clicking the color, but the little dot next to it, that little yellow thing doesn't look like a button. It is. If you click that, you get this this pop-up or pop-down in this point, which just gives you a number of options. And the one that we're looking for is image texture. So essentially, it's replacing that import from a flat color to an image.
Sorry, excuse me. Sorry, Z. Fucking goddamn it. No. Ooh. Yeah, okay. G. Z. Okay, we're gonna. Is it floating or is it resting? I think it's resting on top. Okay. Lit. Our donut is officially resting on top of the countertop. Beautiful.
Image texture options, base fine, just whilst we work and piece this looking like couple. So now I'm going to move that up along its z-axis, so G, and then just a middle tap and pull it up till it's resting on my counter. Haha, lovely. Now don't worry about this looking like cartoonishly bad in terms of realism. I'm going to show you a button later on, which is just going to make this look.
What if I do G, Z? No. G, Z. Girl, you're pissing me off right now. Okay, donut, bestie, G, Z. That's so interesting that, like... Oh, come on. Oh, man, this is when we hit perfectionism part of my brain. Oh, man, come on. I'm just like, G, Z. Just slightly. Come on. Okay. I think what we need to do is just delicately it's R y-axis? No, x-axis. Yep, there you go. Beautifully resting donut. Sorry, I got a little perfectionist about it.
Phenomenally initially bad until it's resting on my counter.
Okay.
Aha, lovely.
Tell me more,
Don't worry about this
my
looking
friend.
like cartoonishly bad in terms of realism. I'm going to show you a button later on, which is just going to make this look phenomenally realistic. That's going to be in some later parts. But for now, this is fine, just whilst we work and piece the scene together. So for our countertop here, we need to give it a new material. And then underneath the base color, you can select not just a color.
Plain. We're gonna call it counter. Okay. New material. Okay.
By clicking the color, but the little dot next to it, that little yellow thing, doesn't look like a button. It is.
Oh.
If you click that, you get this this pop up or pop down in this point, which just gives you a number of options. And the one that we're looking for is image texture. So essentially, it's replacing that import from a flat color to an image texture property, and it's now black, and it's asking you what image texture. So we need an image texture. Now, we could go to just Google Images and just find any old marble texture, download that. The problem, usually, with textures on the web is that what most people call a texture is not ideal for 3D. Most textures are good for websites, but for 3D, we need extra information to tell the 3D software how the material property looks like. How does it reflect light? What do the bumps look like across the surface? And all that information is never available on these sites. So to find those textures, you have to go to a separate, dedicated website. And the website that I recommend is Polygon. And the reason I recommend it is because it's mine. It's my website. That's why I recommend it. No, I started 8 years ago because I was...
Okay. Polygon. Okay. What the fuck is happening? Okay. Polygon. Polygon. Is it free? Or do I have to pay for it? My friend. Oh. That's literally my own stream. Why did I pause her? What are we doing? Okay, cool.
Pretty dissatisfied with the quality of the texture websites that were available at the time, so I used my YouTube money to invest in a team and some high-tech equipment. We went out into the world and we scanned stuff to a very high quality standard. And over the years, we've grown it to include models and HDRIs as well. And obviously, a lot of this stuff is paid, but we also have a free range, and obviously, we're going to be using...
Okay, so they have a free range. Thank you, my friend. Oh, I love that he put the countertop, like, free stuff. Adobe Plaster Wall Texture Beige. Oh, wow. These textures are quite cool. I like them a lot. My question is, in program, can you paint... Oh, light scratches textured. Sunset. Ooh, okay, let me bring it so you guys... You know what I mean? So that you guys can look at it with me. Look at these. These are fun. Oh my god. Mold with Mad Pow. I know he's probably going to be like, oh, take this one. We should... Get up. He's probably going to be like, take this one. Because that's the, like, you know, marbly texture. But we want to, like, we're different. You know, we're built different. Just field, sky. Corroded metal. That's cool. Desert, sun. Ooh. Smudges texture. These are really cool. Oh my god. You get realistic textures here. I love this. I feel like there's a potential to do. My question is, can you take, if I were to take, let's say I download this texture, right? Son of a bitch, I have to, okay. Let me get this off the screen then. Jeez. My question is, like, if I, man, I have to do verification bullshit. God. What's up, Polygon? Yeah, I'm gonna copy. Where's my fucking paste? Gaukag. Oh, I shouldn't have said that out. Ah! I shouldn't have said that out loud. That was the secret code. Ah! For Blender, avoid manual setup, search download. Site Blender. Pop up. I'm a hobbyist. Do not bother me. Close. Okay, cool. Let's just start with downloading this. I'm kind of interested in this tile texture. Displacement, normal, rejection, base color. Okay. Could I... Okay. Let's go. Let's listen to our friend here while he's...
A free texture for this part.
Yeah.
So this is the free texture. This is the one we're going to use. And first of all, although it's free, you need to sign up for an account. So you can just sign up with Google. That's usually the... That's kind of interesting to me to know that. Then when you get here, you're just going to say continue with free account. But power through that. And if you click the link in the description, but this because it'll just appear
I get it.
as
Advertisement.
high resolution images and ones with extra information like roughness. Very, very subtle, but will come through when we do the render. So back into Blender, where we've got that image texture, we're going to click on open. Then navigate to where you unzipped it, and then just click on the one that's ends.
Okay, so we open tile square. Oop. Extract all. View. So we can see them. Eee, look at that. Oh, that's a big image. That's a nice and big image. Look at that. Looks like a little planet. Okay, friend.
With CO. Where we've got that image texture, we're going to click on open. Then
Okay, image texture open. Downloads. Tile square pool. Okay.
and navigate to where you unzipped it, and then just click on the one that ends with COL in the name, and then just hit open. And
COL. The one that ends with a COL. What? Sorry, you guys. COL. Yippee! Pretty cool, pretty cool. Pretty cool.
And here it is. Okay, and it looks great up close. Only problem is, of course, look at that reflection. So bland, so fake. And as I mentioned before, fake is the enemy, and you need to squash it by just adding variance. So that's where our roughness map is going to go. And while we could try to add it in here, this section on the right-hand side, it's actually not where you do most of your material work, because this is kind of like a simplified, dumbed-down version. It doesn't really, it gets a little bit complicated when you try and add too many things to it, because there's like too many menus and drop-downs and all that kind of stuff. So instead, if you go to your shading tab at the top of the screen there, this will change the layout of the screen to something completely different we haven't seen before. And lots of windows, actually too many. I never actually need this one on the right-hand side. So where you just mouse over.
Hold up, friend. Wait, friend. Okay. Oh, no. Oh. Hello. Oh. Okay, I've seen this. The nodes. There's the nodes. Surface. Could I, like...
over where you've got the divider, and then just right-click and then say Join Areas, and then you want to join it to the left to close it. And then I'll do the same here, because I've never needed those on the left-hand side. So I've just got my view at the top here, and then this one here. And the reason, by the way, this looks different than what we had before is because...
Just close this. Close area. Okay. What is this? Okay. Okay, we're just gonna do that. I can't figure it out.
Because this is the material preview, but you can change it back to what we had before by clicking that. So material preview...
This is the preview, but then you can go. Looks kind of fake. Okay.
By the way, it's the same. It's a rendered mode, but it's using lights, a different light setup. Basically, just an HDRI, which is like a fake kind of light and reflection map, just so that you can quickly preview materials. And really, you could use either or. They both kind of show the material, but yeah, let's use this one. Okay, but the bit that we're looking for is here. So this section here is your node setup, and it's actually an exact duplicate of what we did over here, because this on the right-hand side is the simplified version. If you're just doing like a quick change, you might want to use this, but over here, this is what's actually happening to it underneath the hood, right? So you can see as I change this, on the right-hand side, that is also changing there. So they are linked. So the way nodes work is basically a left to right function. So we start over here with our image texture, it goes into our shader, which is the material for this plane, and then it comes out into a material output, and that's what is fed into the final shader. So essentially we could do anything, like for example, and this is one of the value of nodes, is between these two nodes, we could add another node. Like for example, I could hit Shift A to add, again, same hotkey, works everywhere, and then I could add in like a hue shader. So essentially we could do anything, like for example, and this is one of the value of nodes, is between these two nodes we could add another node. Like for example, I could hit Shift A to add, again.
Okay, these two nodes. Shift A, input, what are we inputting, King?
Same hotkey, works everywhere. And then I could add in like a hue saturation value node.
Put color, hue saturation value. So if I just okay. Can make the color be whatever I want it to be. Let's fucking go! Wait! This is what I've been needing from this program. Whoa, trippy. Let's go. Can I also like we could turn it down just like a little bit. Let's do one. Is one a lot? Yo, that's what I've been needing it to do. We can lower. Yes! Yes! Wait, here? What if it's... No. You get out. Oh. This is fun. So it inputs the color into here, and then we can change the hue. I see.
And then I could change the hue of my marble to look blue, right? Or something else. So that's the power of nodes, and you could just keep...
So if you change this to color, you can just... Okay, that's a more realistic approach to it. So... Okay. 1.5. is just the regular. So 2 is really orange. So we need 1.7. Yes! 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 I can make things purple! Let's go. This is such a good texture. And can I scale? That's my question. So we have like this thing, but can I like scale? Roughness alpha. Excuse me. I like this.
Keep going, adding in adjustments and everything you want. So nodes, very, very flexible. They do look daunting because they get all these like, you know, squid-looking lines going everywhere, but it's very, very convenient, very customizable. Okay, but we want to add something to our roughness so that we don't have a flat single value roughness, which is what it is currently. We want to use that map that we just downloaded. So one, you could hit Shift A and then add an image text this way, but actually we could also just drag out from that input there and then just do a release, and it'll now say, what do you want to add in this input? And we could type in image texture, color, and then hit enter. Then here, go to that same place that we unzipped it, and then we're looking for the one with roughness in the name. So roughness in the name, and then hit open. Okay, so this is better, right? You can kind of we want to use that map that we just downloaded. So one, you could hit Shift A and then add an image text this way, but actually we could also just drag out from that input there, and then just do a release, and it'll now say, what do you want to add in this input? And we could type in image texture, color, and then hit enter. Then here, go to that same place that we unzipped it, and then we're looking for the one with roughness in the name. So roughness in the name, and then hit open. Okay, so this is better, right? You can kind of see we've got some detail there. It doesn't look quite right. Something is not going.
No, not new. Which one?
Right. Same place that we unzipped it, and then we're looking for the one with roughness in the name. So roughness.
Roughness. Open. Son of a bitch. Okay. Pull. Reflection. Preview. No gloss. Displays color. I might have picked the wrong texture squad. Because they don't have. It doesn't have roughness in it. No. Squad. Squad. I might have put myself into a blunder. Maybe it's the gloss could work. Open. The gloss thing. Get the bro. Don't piss me off right now. What's happening? Gloss. Open. Still looks flat. Oh my god, guys, I might have fucked it. Open. Maybe, okay. Well, I have to change it. No. Downloads. It's some form. What's color? Maybe it's this one. Oh yeah, that's the reflection. Okay. Oh, God. Guys. Okay, that's fine. Maybe displace. Okay, it's dispersion. It's not a displace, it's a dispersion. So, okay, now it has some texture, but it still needs... gloss, or... open. Okay. Maybe norm 2K. Does this have just a little more texture now? Just needs... yeah, I just need to like layer them onto each other, and that's the hard part. Okay. We're gonna get a different map because I think this one just doesn't. Let me bring back the map stuff here. Okay, girl, don't piss me. Yeah. Wait, what's this? There it is. Wicker basket. Yeah, maybe I have. You know. Maybe I might have gotten a little too excited about. Let's find a different kind of map. Ew. Paper texture, cool. There's wood as well. Wall texture. There's this weird flat grass thing going on, which I think is pretty cool. Ew. Ooh, ruffles and bubbles. Ooh, worn bronze metal texture. Okay. Let's do the worn bronze. Roughness, okay. Down. What? Who wants what from me? Man, digging around with 3D programs is so hard. Extract. Okay. And this one, okay. Get it. Okay, so. Coal. So now we're going to change it to coal. No, that's wrong. Downloads. Yeah, okay, well. So fucking annoying. Polygon metal bronze. Open. Call, right? Like that's base color. Ooh. That's so funny. It kept like some of the texture. That's so interesting. Okay, so you can dick around and layer textures upon each other. I like that. I like that. That's interesting. I like that. So if you like to have a bunch of different textures, you can have roughness. Open image. Open image. Okay, now we have its roughness. Cool, 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 cool. I think we're just gonna change the color. There you go. So it's purple. Purple, 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 purple. Okay, cool. Let's continue with our friendly man. Okay.
To the name and then hit open. Okay, so this is better, right? You can kind of see we've got some detail there, but it doesn't look quite right. Something is not going right. It's because when you add an image texture, Blender doesn't really know what type of information it is yet, and by default, it's looking at the color information, even though there isn't really color there. So instead, we need to tell Blender this is a special map, and we're just looking at the values, right? So essentially, the color space here, we need to change it from sRGB, or it's a standard photo color, to instead non-color data.
sRGB to non-color. Oh, ooh, cool.
Or just non-color, I guess they've changed it. But now you can see that looks correct, right? So look at all that. We've got scratches, we've got smudges. It's infinitely more realistic than what we had previously. So beyond that, though, we could also add in little tiny bumps, okay? So bumps are in a place you would not expect. There's not a bump value here. It's actually under normal. So normal, you hear that word a lot in 3D. It just basically means the face. Which direction is the face pointing, right? So if this is your face of the plane, you're pointing this way. That's the normal, right? But you can change the normal information, kind of tweak it to pretend like there is detail in that, okay? Essentially, we can plug in a specialized map called a normal map. Okay, so we're going to drag out from that normal map and then release, and then image texture, that's the last use thing, that's the one we want. I'm just going to click color, then drop, and then hit open, go to that same folder, and then this is the one, the purple one. It's the weirdest looking map. You always know you're looking at a CG texture map directory because it's the purple one and it's got NRM in the name for normal. And hit open.
Image texture, open, normal. Okay, you see now I'm thinking with portals. Now I'm thinking with portals because now hearing that, okay. Normal map. I like that. So if I were to go here, for example, right? We go, there's just an entire thing of just this lilac tone, which is very interesting. So if I were to go here and let's say I want to just to know what this looks like. Where is it? There. Hello? There. Normal. JPEG, I guess. Okay, I see the vision. So if I was to bring it back to... No, man, cancel. If I was to bring it back to the... there. This guy. Open. Oh, okay. And what if I change... it is currently in roughness. Maybe reflection? No. No. This one is normal. This guy's normal. Reflection. Maybe displacement. Yeah, I think that fucks it up. Okay, that's fine. We're just gonna Control Z. It all? Oh, what's happening here? The normal map. This one is the roughness, which is set as non-color. And this one, cancel. And this one is ambient occlusion. Ambient occlusion base color. That one is base color. Okay. Sick.
And just like before, it's not going to be correct because it thinks this is a color image texture, just like for photos. So we need to change it again to non-color data. And now you would think that would fix it, but no, it looks even worse. What did we do? The problem is we need to convert this image texture into something this can read. So we need to put another node in between here. So the
Okay, I see. So we extend sRGB. Okay, non-color. Cool. And there needs to be another node.
node is found under Shift A for add, then vector normal map. So click and then just
Shift A. Fucking shader? No. What?
just drop. So the node is found under Shift A for add, then vector normal.
Vector normal map. Normal map or just normal? Normal map. You see, this is what happens when you have a slightly different vectors. I think we're gonna go with mapping. I don't think that looks like what he's doing.
Map. So click and then just drop it here so it highlights between it.
Normal map. God damn it. Control. No, is it Shift A? Shift A. Normal map. Displacement. There you go. Boom.
And then just drop it. And it will now finally be correct. And if I go full screen with Control Space, I didn't mention that before, but yeah, Control Space, and then you can go full screen, and you can see we've got very subtle little chips and divots across the texture along with those smudges, and it just looks way more believable. It means you don't have to worry about this part of your scene. It's just going to work, and you're going to get all that detail for free, and just makes life a little bit easier. But it is a lot of work. Like, what you've just made is a PBR shader, and yeah, it's a lot of work, all those little maps and everything, and having to know which setting is which. But it is a very common thing to learn, so that's why I wanted to include it in here. If I could plug my own website again, though, I will say we did hear you, because a lot of people say that. So we actually made an add-on called the Polygon add-on, which I'll actually show you how to install later on, because that is actually important for 3D, because you use a lot of add-ons. But to plug it very quickly, it actually does all of that without you having to leave Blender. So it'll download the texture for you. There we go. See, it's downloading. It's actually faster through the add-on. And then once you've got it, you just hit apply, and then it will do all of that node work for you in the background, and it'll just apply it to the mesh for you. So you don't have to do all...
That's pretty cool. I'm gonna get the add-on
that all the time. And in fact, most people, I think, if you're working on big scenes, you're using libraries, you're using add-ons like this, so you don't have to do it all manually all the time. But it is important to know the process, so that's why I wanted to show it. But anyways, this was our material, and we are happy with it. Well done. Let's go back to the layout tab, and now we're going to do one more thing. So you see our donut base here. Let's just isolate this donut for one moment here by hitting /, which I mentioned previously. Okay, when you're in /, this is isolate mode, which means it's literally turning off everything, including the lamp, which is why it's dark. But if you turn on material preview, then you get this. So this is okay. But if you look at real references of donuts, you'll see that it's typically whiter around the middle. And the reason for that is, as I mentioned before, the way it cooks, right? It's only like half submerged and then it's flipped. And it means that the bits that are closest to the surface are cooked less. So there's usually like a whiter part around the rim. And I mean, really, this is just an excuse to show you another part of Blender, which is texture paint. So at the top there, click the texture paint tab.
Wait. So, we're gonna wait. Okay.
And again, let's go into isolate mode with our donut there. Why are we not seeing? Okay, there we go. So what texture paint does is it lets you paint directly onto your mesh. But if we try doing it, you can see nothing's happening. And it does give you a warning at the bottom, missing textures detected.
Okay. Okay, right. Yep, there you go. Why is my donut purple? Yo, why is my donut purple, dog?
So to paint, you're painting into an image, and the image doesn't exist yet. So we have to give it one. So go to the material tab, and then here where we got base color, we set it up as yellow, but we're actually just going to override it now. So click that little yellow dot again, and then say image texture.
Okay. Image texture. Sick. Why is my donut purple? Guys. Why is my donut purple? Like, I don't mind it, but like... What did I do? Literally pulling out my stylus right now. Okay.
So now it's black, doesn't have an image. So, and instead of clicking open, we're going to click new. So we're going to be creating a brand new image. And let's call this donut base. We could make this high res if we want, but...
New donut base. Okay.
Don't. This is more than enough for a donut base, that's fine. And this will just save us time to color. This will just fill the... it'll fill the image for us with a flat color. So it's going to go for something pretty similar to what we had before, a nice yellowy color, like that. And by the way, make sure you're all the way bright, otherwise your donut is going to be a little bit dark. So yeah, there we go. All right, and then hit OK. And once we've done that, it should be over there on the left-hand side, but if it doesn't pop up, you can just select it from the drop-down donut base, and there we go. So now we're in this state. Look what I can do. Ooh, fancy. So, I don't know why I said it like that. We can paint directly onto our mesh. So to understand this, because it's kind of weird, you can also paint directly over here. And you might be thinking like, well, how does it know, like, how do I know which part over here is actually going to be painted over onto the donut there? You might not care, but it's actually good to understand how it works. So basically this mesh here, it has to be unwrapped over onto this.
Something's not right. Who are we? Okay. The heck?
Is left hand, like what? select it from the drop-down donut base, and there we go. So,
Oh.
I mean, it should be over there on the left-hand side, but if it doesn't pop up, you can just select.
Okay, I see.
Select it from the drop-down donut
There you
base,
go.
and there we go. So now we're in this state. Look what I can do. Ooh, fancy. So, I don't know why I said it like that. We can paint directly onto our mesh. So, to understand this, because it's kind of weird, you can also paint directly over here. And you might be thinking like, well, how does it know, like, how do I know which part over here is actually going to be painted over onto the donut there? You might not care, but it's actually good to understand how it works. So basically, this mesh here, it has to be unwrapped over onto this left-hand side here, because that's the only way to have a 2D texture, 2D flat image be applied to a mesh is to unwrap it in some way. I mean, there's projection. I'm not getting into that. To unwrap it. And unwrapping is essentially like, there's a meme actually that explains it. But if you have like a chocolate, right, that is wrapped in some tinfoil, if you flatten it out, that is essentially UV unwrapping. There are little places in that wrapping where there had to be a cut, right, and then that cut was wrapped around the object. That's what UV unwrapping is. So the reason this works for us is because the cuts are actually already in place for default objects. So this torus is already perfectly UV unwrapped, so we don't have to do anything. I did want to mention it though because it's important to understand UV unwrapping. Anyways, so we could actually paint directly on here as I mentioned. White is a little bit too extreme though, so I'm going to click that and choose a color. First of all, I'm going to select the eyedropper and then not click over here because that's got shading information. I'm going to click on the left-hand side so we get the exact color, and then I'm going to make it closer to white. So not
Okay, so I can just paint on my little donut. I see. Okay. That's so interesting, because much more green. Okay. I see the vision. Okay.
not fully white because that'll be too far, but closer to white. And I'm also going to change the strength of my brush. Yeah, I'll make it about halfway, and then now I can do paints across it. And this will enable you to get a much more natural feel, because you'll have, just like, in fact, I might even go a little bit softer, and that way you can kind of just paint across it. And this is very forgiving.
Okay. I'm just gonna... Okay.
Because we've got icing that's going to go over. The top of it, but that's good. We don't want it to be too extreme. Let's just make it. I might go the other way, make this a little bit more saturated. Anyways, that's basically all we need to do. We just want to just dab.
Okay, so I can just... Maybe, I don't know, I feel like that's a little too light. Just like nothing, okay. This is where, like... Has to be... I figure it has to be, like, a little bit inconsistent when you're painting. Your donut. Okay, this is fun. I can do this. This I know how to do. This one's my gig. This is my gig. Okay. Maybe get a slightly saturated tone. So just I like paint on here as well. No, I cannot paint on them. I see. Slightly loathing, unadulterated loathing, your hair, your clothing. Okay. Okay. Need even more saturation. Just a little more. I feel like that's yeah. There you go. That's a better color. Okay. Just gonna, you know, some of that, you know. Broke boys don't deserve no pussy. I know that's right. just painting our cutie patootie little donut. Oh, hello. Wonk, 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 wonk. So interesting that, like, up here, it's like darker. Loathing, unadulterated loathing. Your face, your hair, your clothing. Ooh. That's too red. I'm trying to go for a more realistic paint. That's a little too red. Toasty, toasty. Wanna make it toasty. Just a little of color. Okay, that's fun. I got a toasty little donut.
Dab our toes into the field of texture painting. I would say texture painting, by the way, it's one of the weaker areas of Blender. It's actually due for an update at some point in the future. But it doesn't do, like, you can't paint into, like, the height information or the roughness information at the same time like you can with Substance Painter. But it's got basic functionality. Now, importantly, this is an image, but it's not saved into your blend file. It still needs to be manually saved. So see at the top left-hand corner there, it's got image with a star. If you see that star, it means you've got changes that haven't been saved. So we need to go image and then save and specify where are we going to put our image. Because if we don't do this, we're going to lose it. So it has to be saved somewhere. So I'm just going to save it, anywhere. It has to be saved somewhere because it will not be saved as part of the blend file. Very important to know that. Otherwise, you can lose texture paint work that you've done. But there we go. So now to bring back everything, remember if it looks like, where's the rest of my scene gone? See the top left-hand corner? Local means it's isolated mode. So that means you just have to hit / again, and it brings back everything. And there we are. So that's the extent of this part of the tutorial. As I mentioned, some of you might be wondering, when are we going to make that lovely subsurface scattering? We're going to do that in the future after we do the sprinkles because it's too hard to see at this point. So there we go, guys. Join me in the next part.
Look at that. That's a beautifully, beautifully done donut sitting on a little sexy countertop. Sexy countertop made by a sexy man, me. Okay. Let's try to... Oh boy. I was like, this stream is going to be shorter.
The time has finally come to decorate our delicious looking donut with some sprinkles. So the feature we need for that is called Geometry Nodes, and you can access it by going to the top of your screen. If you don't see it, just middle mouse drag across, and you'll see the tab Geometry Nodes. Ooh. So it's adjusted to screen layout. Don't get disorientated. Your donut is still there. This screen on the left here, it's called the spreadsheet. Never needed it. Touch on wood, never will. So we can just close that, right click, join areas, and then just collapse it into it.
All right.
By going to the top of your screen. If you don't see it, just middle mouse drag across, and you'll see the tab Geometry Nodes. Ooh. So it's adjusted to screen layout. Don't get disorientated. Your donut is still there. This screen on the left here, it's called the spreadsheet. Never needed it. Touch on wood, never will. So we can just close that, right click, join areas, and then just collapse it into it. Okay. So with your icing selected, click the New button. So welcome to the world of Geometry Nodes. So Geometry Nodes is actually a modifier. So when we hit New there, we've added in a modifier called Geometry Nodes. And what the modifier is doing is whatever we want it to, okay? So what this section down here is, this is a node-based system, and it looks familiar, right? You got boxes with little lines, and it's the exact same type of system that was used in our materials, right? But it's a completely different system. Okay? So the same nodes will not be referenced between the completely different systems. So the way this works is our mesh that we've got here of our icing is what is being represented on the left-hand side with your input. It's then taking that mesh and it's feeding it all the way to the right, and it's going to spit out whatever is in your group output. So currently, nothing has changed because there's nothing between those points. But if I was, for example, don't follow me, but just as an example, if I was to add a set position node, drop this in here, and then change the position of the icing along the Z axis, you can see it's raised it. Okay, now the mesh, if I go into edit mode, is still there. The mesh has not changed. We're not actually moving the object. This is just happening after the fact via a modifier. Okay, now obviously this would be a rather pointless use for geometry nodes to move it, because you could just move it. But as an example, let's say, I don't know, you had a scene where lots of objects, some of them are raised, some of them are not, and you wanted to quickly change them. What you could do with geometry nodes, in this case, you could actually expose this offset value by dragging it to the left over here. And when you do that, you can see it's now appeared over here in our modifier stack. What that means is whenever I'm in another part of Blender, say I'm like building stuff, and I'm like, oh yeah, I need to quickly, change the height of that icing, I've got it there whenever I need to. So essentially, this system enables you to build your own tool that does something that you want it to do in a really flexible way. So it's really powerful. And before geometry nodes, I mean, Blender was kind of limited in what you can do, but I'll throw some examples here. But in the last 2 years since it's been in Blender, people have done some wild stuff with it. And most of this stuff really was just not possible in Blender before without doing custom scripting. So it's really opened up the doors. So it is a very different system, like it's a different way of working than just hands-on in 3D, but it's a really flexible, really valuable system. So any time spent learning geometry nodes, I think, is time well spent. So we want to do sprinkles, and to do that, we need to first of all scatter some points onto our mesh. So to do that, hit Shift A for add, and then we're looking for point, distribute points on faces. Okay, and then it's just going to put you in a placement state. And if you just mouse over that line there till it lights up, if you click, it's going to automatically connect it for you. And now you can see we've got points on our icing and a density.
What is it looking for?
Add, and then we're looking for point.
No, there it is. Point, distribute points in volume.
Distribute points on faces.
Okay. On faces. Distribute points on faces. I might have gotten in the wrong one. Fuck. Shit. I think my... Damn it, guys. Okay, wait. Okay. I think... Contour... Don't ice. Okay. It's about ice. New. No, it's. God damn it! Come on. Control. Is it Shift A? Point. Distribute points on faces. Put that shit. Did it. There you go. Normally, it looks like our donut has a bunch of.
And then it's just it's just going to put you in a placement state. And if you just mouse over that line there till it lights up, if you click, it's going to automatically connect it for you. And now you can see we've got points on our icing and a density value. Great. But you might notice the icing has actually disappeared. Ooh. Now the reason for that is we told it, okay, take that icing object and convert it into points, and then just give us the points back. Okay. So what we need to do is say, yes, we want the points, but we also want the original mesh. So we can do that by adding in a node that you use all the time, which is Shift A, Geometry, Join Geometry. So you'll find this node in probably any geometry nodes tutorial. Very versatile. So drop it in here after the points, and you'll notice this input here is a different shape. So normally inputs are circles or triangles or whatnot. This one is a long and elongated shape to signify that it can accept multiple inputs. So unlike these where you can only accept one, this can accept many. So what we need to do is take the output of our original mesh and then feed it over to here. And now we have both of the original mesh.
Wait. What do you do?
By adding in a node that you use all the time, which is Shift A, Geometry, Join Geometry. So you'll find this node in probably any geometry nodes tutorial. Very versatile. So drop it in here after the points, and you'll notice this input here is a different shape. So normally inputs are
point,
which is Shift A, Geometry, Join Geometry.
Geometry, join geometry. I can just put it in here. Okay. Boom.
So you'll find this node in probably here. It's a different file that it can accept multiple inputs. So unlike these where you can only accept one, this can accept many. So what we need to do is take the output of our original mesh and then feed it over to here. And now we have both the original mesh and we have our points, and they're being combined together and then put into our output. Okay? Very cool. Awesome. All right, so if we were to give this a render right now, you would actually see nothing because these points don't physically exist. They just exist in the 3D space. If we want them to show up in the render, we have to tell it what do you want to render them as. So for that, we need to add an object to be our sprinkle. So your sprinkle could be whatever you want. We're actually going to make two different types of sprinkles in this donation.
Oh wow,
We're
no.
going to start with a very
For some reason, mine already exist. Oh no.
Round ball. So just like you would add another object normally, Shift A, and then go Mesh, and then go UV Sphere. Now, this sphere is going to be referenced for every single sprinkle. Okay, so we want to go as low res as we can get away with. So another object normally, Shift A, and then go Mesh, and then go UV Sphere. Now,
Shift A, Mesh, UV Sphere.
this sphere is going to be referenced for every single sprinkle. Okay, so we want to go as low res as we can get away with. So I'm going to go with 12 segments and then 8 rings. If you're on a really slow computer and you think this is really going to suffer later on, you could go even lower. But I don't want to go too low because otherwise we're going to see that jagged edge because it's a rounded form. So I don't want to go too much lower than that. But I do want to adjust the scale because obviously this needs to be a tiny little sprinkle. So let's go 0.01. Okay, awesome. All right, now.
Man, come on. 8.
With a little edge because it's a rounded form, so I don't want to go too much lower than that. But I do want to adjust the scale because obviously this needs to be a tiny little sprinkle. So let's go 0.01. Okay.
0.01. And she is Gonzo. There she is.
Awesome. All right, now with our icing selected again, you'll notice by the way that if you click another object, you don't see your nodes because it's only going to show you the active object's geometry nodes. So if you want the nodes to just be there no matter what, if you click the pin button there, that means no matter what is selected, it's only going to be showing you this object's, the one that we pinned, geometry nodes. Okay. All right, so to reference, we need to reference that little sphere that we've just created in our geometry node system. And you can do it very easily just by dragging down from your outline up here, just dragging it down into your geometry nodes and dropping it. Okay. So now let's just create some room here. Make a little bit of space. Okay. And what I need to do is add another node to reference this object. And the node is Shift A, instances on points, the top one. Okay. And then I want to drop it in here between distribute points on faces and my join geometry. So drop it in right there until it lights up. Now the points have disappeared because we're now saying replace those points with whatever is in that instance input. So I'm going to take my geometry from my object info and drag it into the instance. And look at that. We have got our spheres appearing all over it. And if I increase the density, we've got sprinkles. And if I do a render, it will actually display. Doesn't look very good, hey, but it does work, which is the main thing, right?
Okay, geometry. Instance. And then if I go into my thing. Ew. Okay. Cool.
Okay, so first things first, you'll notice that as we increase the density, first problem is that they're crowding each other. They are straight up overlapping each other with no respect for its fellow sprinkle, right? Because it's just a random distribution. So we can change that by going here in our distribute points on faces, change it from random distribution to Poisson disk distribution. Poisson, what a name.
Poisson disk. Like that of a fish. From random to Poisson disk.
So it's changed, but that's just because it's changed your density max, so just increase it again. With this Poisson disk distribution, you get this extra value here, distance min. So now if we can set a low value, we can start to delete. It's almost like each one of those points now is going to have a little little radius around it. And if it detects a point within that radius, it's going to delete it. So we just need to increase it slowly, very, very slowly, until we can't see them intersecting anymore. To about there, honestly. If you go too high, like if you really wanted to make sure they weren't touching, you go really high, but it starts to look like too evenly spaced, you know? Like, yeah, it's not actually registering the other objects. It's like, it's just...
Oh my god. Just fucking keep on going, man. Holy shit. Damn, okay.
Just doing this little radius thing, which just happens to be perfect for a ball-shaped object, but it's not like an advanced, like it's going to try to fill in all the gaps for you. So yeah, just kind of, I usually set it to like a little bit of clipping is okay, but I don't want it to be too much. But let's go, yeah, something, I don't know, something like that. We'll actually adjust this later on. I'm just doing it just for this point. All right, a much bigger problem, if I hit Control Tab to go full screen here, if I look at my mesh, I've got sprinkles everywhere. And in fact, I've actually got sprinkles underneath the icing. And that's not good, because it's actually going to put that in the render. Even though you won't see it, your computer is going to use resources to render little individual balls underneath the icing, which is you won't see full screen here. If I like a little bit of clipping is okay, but I don't want it to be.
See, that looks kind of insane. So fake seed density factor. I can definitely go lower with the amount of sprinkles. I feel like no, gee. Yeah. I lower the amount of sprinkles.
Too much. But let's go, yeah, something, I don't know, something like that. We'll actually adjust this later on. I'm just doing it just for this point. All right, a much bigger problem, if I hit Control Tab to go full screen here, if I look at my mesh, I've got sprinkles everywhere. And in fact, I've actually got sprinkles underneath the icing. And that's not good, because it's actually going to put that in the render. Even though you won't see it, your computer is going to use resources to render little individual balls underneath the icing, which is not what we want, obviously. So, going back here, what we need to do to fix this is we need to do weight painting, okay? It's not texture painting, it's a special thing called weight painting. So with your icing selected, if you go from your object mode, you'll see one there called weight paint. Now,
make sure it's selected. Oh, weight paint. God.
your mesh will become blue, and weight paint is actually referenced in multiple parts of Blender. Like if you're doing rigging and animation, you would use weight painting a lot during the rigging step to assign values to certain bones. Essentially what it's doing is it's allowing you to paint a value between 0 and 1 onto any part of the mesh, and then reference that however you want. So we can then reference that weight paint mask in our geometry nodes and use this almost as, well, exactly as a mask for our sprinkles. So if we just do some paint right here on it, you'll see that we have some colors, right? Now these colors aren't going to appear in the render. It's just for you to visualize those values. The blue value means a value of 0, and the red value is a 0 of 1. I believe actually in, maybe not the next version of Blender, but maybe the version, I don't know, but they're planning to change the colors of this. So depending on the value, on how late watching this you are, your colors might be different here, but it should be the same. Essentially, you should have a brush of 1, and you should be able to paint from 0, which would give a blue value in this case, to a value of 1. So whatever is 1, whatever is red, is where our sprinkles will go. But you'll notice that this is not having any effect, okay? So we need to reference it. Now, that weight paint that we just did is actually, if we go to our data tab here, it's actually a vertex group, okay? So that's where that paint went. So you could actually create multiple weight paint types just by like creating them here. But we've just created one, and it's added one here for us. So we can give it a name by double-clicking it, and let's call it Sprinkle Mask. Okay. In fact, is it a mask? It's more of a density, sprinkle density, I guess, because it's not masking out. Anyway, all right, sprinkle density. Okay, and where I want to reference this in my geometry node stack is in the distribute points on faces. There is one value here called density factor, which we got when we used the Poisson disk thing. And this is just a value of 0 to 1. Very convenient. So If I drag out from here and then release, I can add in a new node and it'll just automatically connect it. And the node that you're looking for is called the named attribute. Don't feel bad if you're like, well, how would I know that it's called the named attribute? Because it's called vertex groups over here. You think like, okay, I'm going to type in vertex group, but it's an attribute, but it's one of many attributes, and geometry nodes can do many things, so it's just called the named attribute. So anyways. All right, so underneath name, we're just going to click that box and you'll get a pop-up or pop down, and you're looking for sprinkle density. And there it is. Aha. So now going back into Waypaint mode, we can act like an artist and put the sprinkles wherever we want, sprinkles on our donut, which is really cool.
Okay.
Sprinkles are typically...
I see now. I think we're gonna... I see. We're gonna put... sprinkles inside. Okay. I see.
They're like on a plate, and then the wet donut with icing on it is just like dabbed onto it. So you get like a heavy amount of sprinkles right on the top like that, and then less around the sides. And then I usually do like a few like dabs like this, just for some variance. And then also if you hold down Control, that will do a, so the weight that's being painted is 1. If I hold down Control,
we're just gonna try. Okay. Just an inconsistent amount of sprinkles. Then we're gonna choose the smallest size. Bring the highest amount of density up on the top. I mean, again, some of this I'm like, it's kind of clicking with me right away because it's not like too dissimilar to the way that I work in Photoshop. And I also like rainbows as any gay would. So this, you know, the gay rainbow donut. We're gonna go just a little lower, and we're gonna make the size one smaller, just to make, I don't know, I feel like this transition needs to be kind of softer. Girl, no. Don't piss me off. Gay little donut walking down the street.
control, it's going to do a negative value. And I can adjust my strength there as well, and I can just do some negative paints across it, maybe a couple here as well. And I'm trying to deliberately make it look choppy, because I find that if you make it look too like uniform, then it just looks very boring and artificial. Because the real world would have more sprinkles collecting in certain areas than others, right? Maybe it's just like wetter on that part, right? So more would stick to it, or more force was put on that part of the plate as the donut was dabbed into it, right? You just kind of have to think of this stuff, because in the digital world, it's far too easy to make something that looks predictable and boring, and we don't want that. But there we go, something like that. And you could obviously finesse it and make it better than what it is, but that's what we've got. You'll notice each of these spheres have a very jagged looking shape, and that's because the sphere itself down here. Oh, I think I mentioned this. If you
So yeah, we're just gonna dick around just a little more. More. We're adding more here. There must be some, you know. Again, this is not too dissimilar to the way that I work in Photoshop. Okay.
If you want to quickly zoom to an object without having to find it and pan around, number pad period key. Probably should have mentioned that before, but we haven't really needed it because we have not worked with that many objects. But that'll focus to that object. If you're on a laptop, by the way, if you hold down the tilde key, that'll bring up this section here, and then you've got view selected right there. So tilde is that key underneath your escape key. But anyways, so this is what our sphere looks like. So right click, shade smooth, and now all those sprinkles have a shade smooth. Haha. That'll bring up this section here, and then you've got view selected. But that'll focus to that object. If you're on a laptop, by the way, if you hold down the tilde key, that'll bring up this section here, and then you've got view selected right there. So tilde is that key underneath your escape key. But anyways, so this is what our sphere looks like. So right click, shade smooth, and now all those sprinkles have a shade smooth.
What the fuck did he click?
Tilde key, that'll bring up this section here, and then you've got view selected right there. So tilde is that key underneath your escape key. But anyways, so this is what our sphere looks like. So right click, shade smooth, and now all those sprinkles have a shade smooth. Haha, very nice. All right, now let me just show you a quick.
White paint. Right click. Shade smooth. Okay. Jeez.
Little issue that you might run into. If you were to duplicate your donuts and create two, and then on the second donut you're like, hey, I want to have some spice in my scene. I don't want to have the exact same count of sprinkles across both donuts. Let's give a different value to this one over here. Well, you can see that they are now sharing the same value because this node group here is being linked across both objects. But if you wanted, I mean, you could make it its own single object so that they're not linked. But if you wanted everything else to remain the same, so that let's say you change the sprinkle at some point, that's preserved across it. But that one value you want to be different across multiple objects, you can expose it. So just like what I did at the start, if I drag out from the value I want to expose, and then I put it up to here in my group input, the empty slot, if I just release it, it's now disappeared, the value's disappeared from here, and it's now appeared in my modify stack over here. And now I can put in a different value. So this has now got a value of 2000 and this one is 500. So essentially by dragging it out and exposing it, it's essentially removing the value from this node setup and saying this is its own separate thing, which is independent per object. And it has a two birds, one stone kind of effect that it makes it more accessible. So in a completely different part of Blender, I'm working on my scene and I'm just very quickly giving different sprinkle amounts to different donuts, right? Like a madman, right? No one can stop me. But yeah, very cool. And that's now exposed. Oh, the other thing we probably want to do though with that this group input here is I want to give it a different name because density max, not really that useful. I can call it sprinkle density, right? So now it's like a fully customized little node group that I could drop on any object. I could be building a car in the future. And I'm like, it needs sprinkles. And I can just drop this on and I've got a sprinkle density value for my car, right? So you can see how Geometry Nodes, you can build something really customized for what you want, and then it's just readily accessible every time you need to use it. Awesome. Now, one issue that I will show you with this, and actually it's not specific to Geometry Nodes, but this entire time, for all these videos, we've been building a donut which is too big. So if you hit N in your properties, oh, that's the polygon thing, you can see the size, the dimensions of your donut is 1.2 by 1.2 meters, which for Americans, oh, actually, yeah, you can change it. You can change your units to the wacky imperial one. Yeah, 4 feet, right? Okay. Which is way too big. Okay. Now, why does it matter, right? Because, like, okay, if you're looking at this, how are you to actually know that this is 1.2 meters rather than the regular size donut? It doesn't actually matter yet, but when we get to, like, rendering with depth of field, or maybe you want to import other objects from other scenes, having a value that is actually true to the object will save you so much time, and will also make it so that your camera settings, etc., are actually correct. So that bit is very important. So essentially, we should resize this. And really, a real donut is about 12 centimeters, which is exactly 1/10 of what we've got right here. So if we select everything in the entire scene, which you can do by just hitting A for everything, I don't know, A for all, yeah, that makes more sense, okay. Then, if we hit S to scale, okay.
My donut is fucking 11 meters in size. That's a big donut. That is a big donut.
We're now in a scale. Oh, actually, okay. Well, now it's going to scale it, and the plane is going to be off the ground. Okay. All right. Well, let's not scale the lamp and the camera. So everything else, selecting the donut, the lamp, the donut, the plane, and the sphere. Then S, and then I want to scale it by exactly 10%. Now, how could I do that? Well, if you look in the top left-hand corner, you've got the values there. And if I went to 0.1, then it would be exactly 1/10 of what it was. But how can I get it exactly at 0.1? Well, two things. One, if you hold down Control, when you're moving any value in Blender, it'll move it in increments, which in this case is 0.1. But you can also actually just type in the exact value you want, 0.1, and hit Enter. And now, if we look at the size of our donut, click N, hit N, you can see it's 0.12 meters, or centimeters, yeah. Anyway, and that's great.
Wait.
N, point, value in corner, the camera. So every scale it, and the plane is going to be off the ground. Okay. All right. Well, let's not scale the lamp and the camera. So everything else, selecting the donut, the lamp, the donut, the plane, and the sphere. Then S, and then I want to scale it by exactly 10%. Now, how could I do that? Well, if you look in the top left-hand corner, you've got the values there. And if I went to 0.1, then it would be exactly 1/10 of what it was. But how can I get it exactly at 0.1? Well, two things. One, if you hold down Control, when you're moving any value in Blender, it'll move it in increments, which in this case is 0.1. But you can also actually just type in the exact value you want, 0.1, and hit Enter. And now, if we look at the size of our donut, click N, hit N, you can see it's 0.12 meters, or centimeters, yeah. Anyway, and that's great. But there is a problem. What you might notice, I mean, there's not a problem now, but when you change the scale or the rotation of an object, actually, it's only changed its, its local scale. It hasn't actually applied it on a global level yet. So the sprinkle here and the donut have actually got a, like, pretend value. The scale is set at 0.2, and it's almost like it's saying to the scene, that's not its real scale. It's just been faked to be that size yet. It needs to be applied if you want to, confirm, really, that this is the true scale or rotation of the thing. And you do that by selecting the things and then hitting Control A and then applying scale. Okay, so now we've done that, we can see something's changed. So our donut here with the sprinkles has now massively changed its density count. And the reason for this is that, if we go to Geometry Nodes again.
Right, okay. Man, okay, wait. Okay. G, Z. I mean, I guess I could just put it on 0 now. Man, no, wait. Control V. Camera, girl. Zero. That might have been a mistake. Okay, that's fine.
Let's zoom in here. Let's look at it with this. This density, this sprinkle density.
Okay. What did he do?
Sprinkle here and the donut have actually got a like pretend value. The scale is set at 0.2, and it's almost like it's saying to the scene, that's not its real scale. It's just been faked to be that size yet. It needs to be applied if you want to like confirm really that this is the true scale or rotation of the thing. And you do that by selecting the things and then hitting Control A and then applying scale. Okay, so now we've done that, we can see something's changed. So our donut.
So, scale, we're gonna hit 0.1 yet again. So it matches his.
Donut here.
We're trying to match his donut size. Unfortunately, my donut is just so big. G. G, Z. Hello, G. Zero. What about my donut? That fucking thing, man. And the sphere, too. Zero. Come on. Okay. Couldn't touch thing for some reason. Okay, G. Y. Sure.
That this is the true scale or rotation. Pretend local scale. It hasn't actually applied it on a global level yet. So the sprinkle here and the donut have actually got a like pretend value. The scale is set at 0.2, and it's almost like it's saying to the scene, that's not its real scale. It's just been faked to be that size yet. It needs to be applied if you want to like confirm really that this is the true scale or rotation of the thing. And you do that by selecting the things and then hitting Control A and then applying scale. Okay, so now we've done that,
Okay, Control
we can
A.
see something's changed. So our donut here with the sprinkles.
Control A. Ah, okay.
Has now massively changed its density count. And the reason for this is that, if we go geometry nodes again, let's zoom in here, let's look at it with this. This density, this sprinkle density, is actually not the count of sprinkles at all. It's the density in relation to the whole scene. And the way I think of it is like, okay, it's a weird visualization, but if you've got a car and it's driving along a highway, right, a certain amount of bugs are going to hit the windshield, okay? And the bugs could be defined by here. But the smaller the object is, right? You can have the same amount of bugs going across the highway, but if it was like a tiny Matchbox car, there's going to be very few bugs that's going to hit it, okay? So the density is kind of like the density of the world, and now that we've made the object smaller, there's only 3 sprinkles left. There's only 3 bugs that hit the windshield of our donut here. So this value now needs to be much bigger. In fact, it needs to be exactly like if it was 6,000 before, it needs to be, 60,000 now. But the problem is that it's not just a value here. The distance min value has also changed because this is also based on a real world value. So
right here. Huh.
So this now needs to be really small. So let's try 0.01. And that's actually pretty good, I think. There's a little bit of overlap.
Point 0.01.
But that's roughly kind of what we want. And let's see if I can increase this. Yeah, so if I want this density to be
Okay. I think I missed something.
really dense, yeah, I would have to increase it to a crazy number. Now, something I like to do personally, this isn't, you have to do this, but you notice how like this number is really large. And if I want to increase or lower my sprinkle value, and I'm in a different part, of Blender, if I'm just dragging this value,
Okay. Okay.
but we haven't really needed it because we haven't not worked to this one over here. Well, you can see that they are now sharing the same value because this node group here is being linked across both objects. But if you wanted, I mean, you could like make it its own single object so that they're not linked. But if you wanted everything else to remain the same, so that let's say you change the sprinkle at some point, that's preserved across it. But that one value you want to be different across multiple objects, you can expose it. So just like what I did at the start, if I drag out from the value I want to expose, and then I put it up to here in my group input, the empty slot, I just release it. It's now disappeared. The value's disappeared from here, and it's now appeared in my modify stack over here. And now I can put in a different. So this has now got a value of 2,000, and this one is 500. So essentially, by dragging it out and exposing it, it's essentially removing the value from this node setup and saying this is its own separate thing, which is independent per object, and it has a 2 birds, 1 stone kind of effect that it makes it more accessible. So in a completely different part of Blender, I'm working on my scene, and I'm just very quickly giving different sprinkle amounts to different donuts, right? Like a madman, right? No one can stop me. But yeah, very cool. And that's now exposed. Oh, the other thing we probably want to do though, with that this group input here is want to give it a different name because density max, you know, not really that useful. I can call it sprinkle density, right? So now it's like a fully customized little node group that I could drop on any object. I could be building a car in the future. And I'm like, it needs sprinkles. And I can just drop this on it, and I've got a sprinkle density value for my car.
What did I miss? Hunter? We did not... Motherfucker. Yeah, we just selected... It's got a couple of zeros there. There you go. Oh, it looks so much much more spacious. Okay. 0.0001. Okay. Throw just a few more. Nope. Remove like 1 0, I think is gonna be good. Yep, there you go. Okay. Jesus, I see how this works.
Right? So you can see how geometry nodes you can do with this. This real-world value. So this now needs to be really small. So let's try 0.01. And that's actually pretty good, I think. There's a little bit of overlap, but that's roughly kind of what we want. And let's see if I can increase this. Yeah, so if I want this density to be really dense, yeah, I would have to increase it to a crazy number. Now, something I like to do personally, this isn't, you have to do this, but you notice how like this number is really large. And if I want to increase or lower my sprinkle value, and I'm in a different part of Blender, if I'm just dragging this value, it's having no effect because the range, like the scale of it is just so large. So what I actually do is I set it to a value that I think makes sense, which in this case is 200. And then whatever the value was before, it was 200,000, right? I do a math value inside of my geometry node setup. Between here and here, I do a math calculation to multiply that by the value that it needs to be. Almost as like a scale adjustment. So you can do it with just one node, shift.
Okay, so... say 500. Okay.
A, utilities, math.
Okay.
Math. And just drop it in here. Now the math.
Shift A, utilities, math. Math. Okay.
I said I want to multiply it, so I need to change it from add to a multiply. And math is the most versatile of any node. You can do all sorts of stuff, but multiply. So multiply, and it was 200,000 before. So if I want this value 200, then I just add 1,000. Yes, that's correct. Okay. So now I can very quickly change the scale of the sprinkles across the donut without having to like manually type in the value. I can just move it back and forth. And there you go. So that.
Let's just one extra 0. There you go. Okay.
That's it. So we changed the scale of it to what it should be. We've got a correct density. Sorry, we've got a correct sprinkle setup, looking good. In the next part, we are going to be adding long sprinkles to our donuts because this round one is okay. And I originally was just going to go round to try and keep it simple, but there's also, I don't know, the long sprinkles just look way nicer. But you do have to do some different rotation math and stuff, so we're going to do that in a whole second video. So.
Okay. So here's where our donuts is at. I think, yeah, man, this is so petty. Do we like it? Look at our donut. So very sexy. Let's take a little peeky of my donut. Yeah, Yippee! We're gonna save it, and this is where I'm gonna cut it. I was gonna say that it's gonna be bite-sized and a little shorter, but then I lied to myself and to you. So it's actually gonna be long. But yeah, no, I hope... Shut up. I hope you guys like this. I'm gonna... Jeez. I'm gonna take a little rest. Okay, there you go. File. Save. We're fucking saving this shit. Saved. Okay. Probably do some sketchbooking, so you'll probably see me posting that. But I hope to see you guys soon. I'll probably, hopefully we'll finish the donut next week, but probably not. But yeah, exciting to do 3D rendering and 3D modeling, but holy shit, am I tired. It's like so mentally exhausting. Okay, make sure to take a drink, eat some food.